Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Breaking tonight. I don't know when this New Yorker article was written or published. 7:49 p.m. All right, so around 8 o'clock tonight. When I walked in the door, there was a Fox News alert, as soon as I turned on the TV, and this is about 20 minutes ago, and I'm just trying to get myself acclimated to everything that's new, and there's a lot. There's another accuser against Brett Kavanaugh. And she gave her account over at the New Yorker with Ronan Farrow and another co-reporter, Jane Mayer. So, and she's a classmate at Yale, freshman year of Brett Kavanaugh. The incident took place in a suite of a dormitory, where they were having like a little party and heavy drinking, playing drinking games. The woman's name is Deborah Ramirez. All right, and she gives a pretty explicit account, at least as best as she can remember, of that evening. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read through it over at the New Yorker. But also, in addition to that, and obviously there's going to be calls for her to testify. Already, Senator Dianne Feinstein, the leading Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, has I think written a letter to Grassley calling for him to delay the hearing Thursday for Ford's testimony. And pretty much, we're going back to putting a pause. There's going to be calls to put a pause on the nomination, calls for FBI investigation, and so forth. In addition to that, also breaking tonight, you have Avenatti, Stormy Daniels' attorney. He claims that he's representing a third accuser. This one from high school, another one from high school, who's making some claims that are extreme, very extreme, and he uses extreme language in his in expressing the claim. He wrote, I think, an email to Mike Davis, the chief counsel for nominations for Senator Chuck Grassley, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and he tweeted the email that he sent to him. Broadly stating the claim, the accusation, and some of the questions that should be asked of Kavanaugh. I guess on Thursday's hearing, But again, you're going to hear multiple calls in addition to Senator Dianne Feinstein of delaying the hearing, delaying the process altogether. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm going to read through this New Yorker thing. Again, that's the woman who went to school with Brett Kavanaugh freshman year at Yale. So let's get into it, man. I read through this. It's definitely not sounding too good. She was very. They were all drinking heavily. She concedes that she was heavily inebriated. There was part where it's foggy, but she's explicitly accusing Brett Kavanaugh of this, and I don't know, man. Whether or not this is true or not, I would say the nomination's definitely starting to come into doubt. I would think, but I'm just trying to be a realist, and not try to just not do wishful thinking, which we all have a tendency to do, to try to preserve our whatever we believe. In any event, let me just go through what she's claiming. The woman at the center of the story, Deborah Ramirez, who was 53, attended Yale with Kavanaugh, where she studied sociology and psychology later. She spent years working for an organization that supports victims of domestic violence. The New Yorker contacted Ramirez after learning of her possible involvement in an incident involving Kavanaugh. The allegation was conveyed to Democratic senators by a civil rights lawyer. For Ramirez, the sudden attention had been unwelcome and prompted difficult choices. She was at first hesitant to speak publicly, partly because her memories contained gaps, because she had been drinking at the time of the alleged incident. In her initial conversation with the New Yorker, she was reluctant to characterize Kavanaugh's role in the alleged incident with certainty. After 6 days of carefully assessing her memories and consulting with her attorney, Ramirez said that she felt confident enough in her recollections to say that she remembers Kavanaugh had exposed himself at a drunken dormitory party, thrust his penis in her face, caused her to touch it without her consent as she pushed him away. Ramirez is now calling for the FBI to investigate Kavanaugh's role in the incident. I would think an FBI investigation would be warranted, she said. In a statement, Kavanaugh wrote, "This alleged event from 35 years ago did not happen. The people who knew me then know this did not happen and have said so. This is a smear, plain and simple. I look forward to testifying on Thursday about the truth, defending my good name and the reputation for character and integrity I've spent a lifetime building against these last-minute allegations." Thursday is going to be interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know if they're going to want this woman to testify as well or what. You know, I think we'll get a better feel for things once we hear from him, hear from Ford, maybe this other person too. But I would say, you know, I don't know, man. It's just gotten completely crazy. So the White House spokesman for spokesperson Carrie Kupek said the administration stood by Kavanaugh. This 35-year-old uncorroborated claim is the latest in a coordinated smear campaign by the Democrats designed to tear down a good man. Ramirez, I'm going to skip some. Ramirez said that when both she and Kavanaugh were freshmen at Yale, she was invited by a friend on the women's soccer team to a dorm room party. She recalled that the party took place in a suite at Lawrence Hall in the part of Yale known as Old Campus, and that a small group of students decided to play a drinking game together. Let me stop there just for a quick line. I mean, I lived in a dorm. Many of us, whoever went to college did, and in the dorm, you have suites. So you have like clusters of rooms, whatever, like 5, 6 rooms that are all sort of living, and they have a community area that's closed off from the hallways that has a television, some couches where you can hang out, and, it's just sort of a communal space. And then the bathroom that you all share together is out there as well, all the showers and stuff like that, So that's what the suite is. So we were sitting in a circle, she said. People would pick who drank. Ramirez was chosen repeatedly, she said, and quickly became inebriated. At one point, she said a male student pointed a gag plastic penis in her direction. Later, she said she was on the floor, foggy and slurring her words, as the male student and another stood nearby. Ramirez identified the 2 male onlookers, but at her request, the New Yorker is not naming them. A third male student then exposed himself to her. "I remember a penis being in front of my face," she said. "I knew that's not what I wanted, even in that state of mind." She recalled remarking, "That's not a real penis," and the other students laughing at her confusion and taunting her, one encouraging her to kiss it. She said that she pushed the person away, touching it in the process. Ramirez, who was raised a devout Catholic in Connecticut, said that she was shaken. "I wasn't going to touch a penis until I was married," she said. "I was embarrassed and ashamed and humiliated." She remembered Kavanaugh standing to her right and laughing, pulling up his pants. "Brett was laughing," she said. "I can still see his face, his hips coming forward like when you pull up your pants." She recalled another male student shouting about the incident. "Somebody yelled down the hall, 'Brett Kavanaugh just put his penis in Debbie's face,'" she said. "It was his full name. I don't think it was just Brett. And I remember hearing and being mortified that this was out there." Ramirez acknowledged that there are significant gaps in her memories of the evening, and that if she ever presents her story to the FBI or members of the Senate, she will inevitably be pressed on her motivation for coming forward after so many years and question about her memory, given her drinking at the party. And yet, after several days of considering the matter carefully, she said, "I'm confident about the pants coming up, and I'm confident about Brett being there." Ramirez said that what has stayed with her most forcefully is the memory of laughter at her expense from Kavanaugh and the other students. "It was kind of a joke," she recalled, "and it's not clear to me that it wasn't a joke." So, but according to this, she told other people or other persons, what do they call them? Contemporary. I forget that when you give an account to somebody soon afterwards. They were looking for that with Ford, which they didn't have. because she never told anybody for 30 years. This one seems to be different, and there was other people there in the suite. So, this is definitely getting complicated, I think. By his freshman year, Kavanaugh was 18 and legally an adult. During his confirmation hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Kavanaugh swore under oath that as a legal adult, he had never committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature. The New Yorker has not confirmed with other eyewitnesses that Kavanaugh was present at the party. The magazine contacted several dozen classmates of Ramirez and Kavanaugh regarding the incident. Many did not respond to interviews requests. Others declined to comment and said they did not attend or remember the party. A classmate of Ramirez's, who declined to be identified because of the partisan battle over Kavanaugh's nomination, said that another student told him. Okay, so this is said that another student told him about the incident either on the night of the party or in the next day or two. I don't need to read this whole thing. So this is, a third-hand account of somebody told somebody. Nevertheless, it's not sounding so great, I must say. The classmate said that he is 100% sure that he was told at that time that Kavanaugh was the student who exposed himself to Ramirez. He independently recalled many of the same details offered by Ramirez, including that a male student had encouraged Kavanaugh as he exposed himself. The classmate, like Ramirez, recalled that the party took place in a common room of the first floor in entryway B of Lawrence Hall during their freshman year. I've known this all along, he said. It's been on my mind all these years. When his name came up, it was a big deal. The story stayed with me. The story stayed with him, he said, because it was disturbing and seemed outside the bounds of typically acceptable behavior, even during heavy drinking at parties on campus. All right, so that's the second accuser. Let's stop there. What's his name? Ronan Farrow tends to write extremely long articles, which he has again here. It's not quite as long as some of the others, but nevertheless. So there she is, pictured there. I looked in there. Okay, there's another picture of her, and I looked for her on Facebook, just morbidly curious, and I didn't find her, but I'm assuming that that's been taken down by now. But all right, so now there's also Avenatti. He says he has a third person. This person's back in high school again. This was freshman year, so this is just 1 year outside of high school. This is 83, 84, I believe, is the year that we're talking about with Debbie Ramirez. But Avenatti says he has somebody as well that he's representing. Kavanaugh denies second accuser sexual misconduct allegation as Avenatti claims evidence of targeting women for gang rape. All right, this is Avenatti. Claims of evidence targeting women for gang rape. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh faced a storm of new sexual misconduct allegations Sunday after attorney Michael Avenatti said he has knowledge that Kavanaugh and high school friend Mark Judge targeted women with drugs and alcohol in order to allow a train of men to subsequently gang rape them. Avenatti, who represents adult film star Stormy Daniels in a lawsuit against President Trump and has hinted at a possible presidential run, made the claims in an email to Mike Davis, the chief counsel for nominations to the Senate Judiciary Committee. He did not state the source of his evidence and did not name any alleged victims. In Avenatti's email, a screenshot of which he posted on Twitter, which is right here. Here. And there's the email that he sent to that attorney, chief counsel for nominations, Mike Davis. The lawyer told Davis that he had significant evidence of multiple house parties in the Washington, D.C. area during the early 1980s where Kavanaugh, Judge, and others would participate in the targeting of women with alcohol and drugs. Avenatti included a list of questions for Senate investigators to ask Kavanaugh, including, I'll read through them in a second. So, okay, so that's Avenatti's. He doesn't have a name, or he hasn't revealed somebody that he's representing, but my email moments ago with Mike Davis, chief counsel for nominations for U.S. Senate Committee on the judiciary. We demand that this process be thorough, open, and fair, which is what the American public deserves. It must not be rushed. And evidence witnesses must not be hidden. All right, so the email to the Chief Counsel for Nominations, United States Senate Committee on the Judiciary, for Senator Chuck Grassley, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary. Here's Michael Avenatti's email to him, which, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a fair amount of bluster, if you ask me, but here it is. All right, dear Mr. Davis, thank you for your email. We are aware of significant evidence of multiple house parties in the Washington, D.C. area during the early 1980s, during which Brett Kavanaugh, Mark Judge, and others would participate in the targeting of women with alcohol, drugs, in order to allow a train of men to subsequently gang rape them. There are multiple witnesses that will corroborate these facts, and each of them must be called to testify publicly. As a starting point, Senate investigators should pose the following questions to Judge Kavanaugh without delay and provide the answers to the American people. Number 1, did you ever target one or more women for sex or rape at a house party? Did you ever assist Mark Judge or others in doing so? Did you ever attend a house, number 2, did you ever attend a house party, any house party, during which a woman was gang raped or used for sex by multiple men? Holy moly. Number 3, did you ever witness a line of men outside a bedroom at any house party where you understood a woman was in the bedroom being raped or taken advantage of? Holy moly, this is unreal. Number 4, did you ever participate in any sexual conduct with a woman at a house party whom you understood to be intoxicated or under the influence of drugs? Number 5, did you ever communicate with Mark Judge or anyone else about your participation in a train involving an intoxicated woman? Number 6, did you ever object or attempt to prevent one or more men from participating in the rape or taking advantage of a woman at any house party? Please note that we will provide additional evidence relating to the above conduct both to the committee and the American people in the coming days. Regards, Michael Avenatti. And this is from Davis here. Dear Mr. Avenatti, according to your tweet, 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time this evening, you claim to have information you consider credible regarding Judge Kavanaugh or Mark Judge. Please advise of this information immediately so that Senate investigators may promptly begin an inquiry. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Which he really doesn't do. He just provides questions. All right, that's a lot of content that I just went through. Hopefully, I did a fair job presenting a ton of stuff that's just dropping on a Sunday night prior to what is going to be a very busy week. And tomorrow is going to be a very busy day. We'll see what the White House does, Trump does, the Senate Judiciary Committee, and tomorrow is going to be extremely interesting. How do I think this is all going to shake out? I don't know, dude. I would say his nomination's in trouble, man. I would say that Ramirez is whether or not I'm not this complicates matters. It's just because now you have two, irregardless of I don't know, dude. I don't know. All right, that's the end of this video, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Later, man.